Sup, Nerdmigos, and the Jive Talking Nerd, John Norcroft. We've got Wife here. We're here for another review, Jive. Last night was Terrible Movie Tuesday, and it was also Bilbo Baggins' birthday, so we watched a bunch of that. But those are only kind of terrible. We'll get there later.
No, they're not terrible at all.
The Hobbit movies beg to differ.
Hobbit movies are terrible. The others are not.
I didn't specify which movies. We didn't watch the Hobbit movies, by the way. Those are awful. But we watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. I have seen all of both of the TV series, Avatar and Korra, and Julie has seen none of this shit.
None of it.
So we watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, directed and I think actually partially written by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah. I'd like to say it was an adventure, but it was not.
Terrible movies. I'm going to read the thing, and we're going to move into this. This is going to be a quickie review because everybody knows how bad this movie is, and I don't need to sit here and explain it to you on multiple occasions. So, the four nations of air, water, earth, and fire lived in harmony until the Fire Nation declared war. A century later, there is still no end in sight to the destruction. Then, an avatar named Aang, played by Noah Ringer, discovers that he has the power to control the four elements. He joins forces with Katara, played by Nicole Peltz, a waterbender, and her brother Sokka, who restore balance and harmony to their world. Which, I mean, sure, fucking why not?
I mean, I guess that's close enough to what happened.
Yeah, okay, so, what the fuck do you think happened in this movie?
I don't really know what happened in this movie, to be honest with you. Like, it was very difficult to pay attention to because it was awful. Like,
the CGI isn't
the CGI
good?
wasn't great. Like, the story,
the vistas are pretty.
The vistas are pretty, but they look like they look super animated, so it doesn't look realistic.
Yeah. Way overly used.
The dialogue is weird. Like, everything about this is super weird. So
2010. In
seeing this and like knowing how crazy people are about the TV show, which I've just never seen sort of by chance.
Yeah.
It would not make me want to watch the show. That being said, I'm not saying I don't want to watch the show.
She'll watch
I'm just
the
saying,
show, don't worry.
Just by like looking at this, I would be like,
think about it this way. So if this movie compared to the show is like the Star Wars holiday special, compared to the movies.
So if I were to try to,
technically it's using the same names, except first of all, they mispronounce Avatar regularly.
Yeah.
They mispronounce Aang regularly.
Yeah.
They just throw shit away with pronunciation.
So if I were to try to explain what this movie is about,
a little racist.
There's this girl, and she's like a waterbender, and she lives with other waterbenders, and like her brother is there. Also, I didn't realize who was her brother halfway through the movie.
I don't even know.
So they're like doing something in the ice, and then they just unearth this like kid basically that was frozen in the ice, and he's got like a flying monster from where the wild things are. That's like his mount.
It's a sky bison. They don't say that in the movie, or at least I'm pretty certain they don't. Yeah. And I believe his name is Appa.
Its face is,
if I remember correctly,
horrifying.
It's been a long time since I've seen this show.
I was not a fan of the CGI and where the wild things are, so I did not like this thing. I kept wanting it to be cool, and then I would land, and I'd be like, oh, you're not Falkor, that's right. Never mind.
Yeah.
So, like, they unearthed this kid, and he's been, like, in the ice, but apparently, like, didn't die for, like, 100 years. And it turns out that, like, all his people who are, like, the airbenders are dead. And I think it's because the fire people are, like, oh, we're gonna go to war and be the best, and we're gonna, like, murder and wholesale. The fire people are, like, super bad, right? And they don't even really use their fire powers in a very badass way, to be perfectly honest in this.
Again, only in the movie.
Actually,
they are
really
fucking
nobody does.
Incredibly hardcore in the
fire
show.
People are, like, I guess, sort of, like, reigning supreme over all of the other bending type element people, and in addition to, I guess, like, regular people who don't bend stuff, because it seems like perhaps that's rare. And the fire people are like, oh, we have to find the next avatar, whatever that is, and they have Aang do these, like, tests, and we only see one test, and I guess he passes, and then they're gonna take Aang away, presumably to brainwash him and raise him so that they can have like a super soldier.
No, just fully to murder his ass.
Oh, they were gonna murder him. It would have been better if they were gonna try to
technically
brainwash
to imprison him, because whenever the Avatar dies, he gets reborn. So the Avatar is sort of like the Dalai Lama. This is
No,
like
I got that. I got that later on.
Yeah.
So the fire people are like that, and Aang's like, I don't want to go. And then the other waterbender people that like Katara's peoples with, I guess, like her settlement.
The Southern Water Tribe.
The Southern Water Tribe. Mm-hmm. They're like, you can't have him. And he's like, I'm not going to go. And the fire people are like, but we're going to take you. And then somehow he escapes. I don't remember how, because I wasn't paying attention. Yeah. Because this is awful.
I mean,
and
the
then
use of
all of a sudden, like, we cut over to the Earth people who are like living in poverty in like tents and shit, and like they're like, oh no, the fire people are here, let's not fight them. And then Aang and Katara are like, let's fight. And then the Earth people are like, I guess let's fight. So then there's like another fight, which also doesn't make sense. I don't really understand why there was a fight there. I don't really even know why we went to the Earth people in the first place. And then we leave there, and then we go to the Northern Water Tribe, which is like Ice Daenerys. They've got like a young hot princess who's into Katara's brother, and she's like apparently super good at water bending. But like their whole thing is on the ice, so like these guys are not well prepared for global warming. It's quite strange. And then the rest of the movie takes place there because the fire people are taking like the dopest steam engine boats to like go and apparently just murder this whole Northern Water Tribe, who's just been like somewhere else while everyone else has been like basically systematically murdered and round up and herded into camps and live in like poverty. So I don't know why these people are all of a sudden just like here and chilling and everybody's cool with that, but whatever. And then there's like this big fight, and then Aang brings like the ocean up. The water doesn't get displaced, it just comes up. And then the ships are like, oh, that's a super big wall of water, we should go. And then the ships just go. And then Aang's like, oh, great, they just turned around and they're leaving. Like, they haven't even, like, really started going away. Like, they're not even far. And he's just like, guess it's time to stop with this water wall. And then he just lets the water wall down, which also doesn't crash anything. And then the movie is over. Overall, I would say aside from the plot and general story, like the worst parts about this was that there were the three things I didn't like the most is I didn't like the way that they did their like Tai Chi martial arts stuff for the bending. I felt like you should have different styles of that for different elements because that just makes sense to me. And also their movements did not line up with the CGI like at all. They're like doing all this stuff and then the CGI is like...
Yeah, so
it's very strange.
I don't know if this is a side effect of 2010 CGI just not being good, which it isn't, that's horseshit. But, So in the anime, all of the nations do have a very different style of martial arts in order to activate their bending that is not well shown in this movie at all. As well as in this movie, every time somebody uses a power, it's very slow. Yeah. It's like the CGI just couldn't keep up almost.
It's a little bit like the CGI is buffering and just didn't get there in time.
Everything felt very just like fireball, water ball, air blowy thing. Like there's really not a lot of detail involved in any of that.
Or interaction when you have like opposing types of forces or...
Yeah, they really relied this movie relies very heavily on the fact that the people who are watching it have seen the show, so it fills in gaps, right? So shit that like doesn't make sense to her, I understand because I've seen the TV show a couple of times. Yeah. So like I understand what's going on. I know about Fire Lord Ozai, and I know about the Fire Nation.
Like,
I know about like as a solid example, the brother Sokka. Is he like a fun-loving guy?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
see, because in the anime, he's like a fun jokes guy.
I mean,
in the movie,
the only emotion he had was like with the Ice Princess, and that was like, "Oh, you're super pretty," which was
also, did you notice that the Ice Princess said,
died, and then he was
been
like,
"Here for a month."
Yeah, like the time was all weird.
Huge time displacements
that was the thing. That was one thing I didn't like was their like movements and how that lined up and the CGI and like the whole bending thing. There definitely left a lot to be desired there. Yeah. I also didn't like the acting. It was a little bit like the actors were directed to just not move their
Emote.
faces.
Yeah.
Like, don't emote.
Or ham it up.
Like, they basically gave everyone Botox injections. It's like every single actor involved in this, including, like, who's the main dude in charge of the fire people?
Oh. Well...
Like the dad.
There's... You met the dad, like, a couple of times. It's Fire Lord Ozai.
The only one that shows emotion, and even then.
It's barely.
Yeah.
Well, and then, like the uncle does. You get a little bit of emotion out of the uncle. He's a big fat jolly guy in the in the anime. Not at all in this. Yeah. I guess you get anger out of the Fire Prince. I mean, this is the thing,
but not even
right?
really that.
You know, we don't need to list because we don't have time for that shit. All of the things wrong with this movie, but this is a solid example. This is sort of like the Doom movies, right?
Yeah.
Solid video game, full of lore. What if we just threw that all down the toilet and then made a bunch of shit?
Well, and that leads me to the last thing that I didn't like about this, and that's basically that this movie felt so disjointed that it was a little bit like watching a fan made video of an entire series of a TV show all crammed into an hour
like
and a half.
An AMV almost.
Yeah, like an AMV or like a fan
an hour and a
music
half
video.
long AMV.
It was like an hour and a half long like shrink down of a series. So I can see why people are upset. Because this was awful, guys.
Yeah,
I'd rather watch Jupiter Ascending.
It was a horrible fucking
because
movie.
I like that movie.
Jupiter Ascending is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Also.
So anyway, this was awful.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God, don't watch it.
Yeah, don't go see this. 0 fucking
we
stars.
watched it on Netflix if you want to put yourself through that kind of pain and suffering. But again, I would recommend that you don't.
Hashtag cancel M. Night Shyamalan for being a shitty director.
Yeah.
This is the thing, man, is that there's literally 0 redeeming qualities to this movie. There is nothing good about this. I understand that, like, people put effort into it. Their effort was a waste, and everything about it's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, really, even saying, well, the scene, like, it's scenic, and that's pretty, requires me to asterisk, yeah, I mean, but there's, like, too much fucking CGI in all of it.
Yeah.
This, to me, is proof that an American studio is not ready for Japanese, even though Avatar is an American show, it is that Japanese-style anime sort of a thing, and I think that American cinema is just not ready to
it
put
wasn't
those
in
out.
2010.
It's still not. It's 2020. They still suck. But it's just
it wasn't bad.
This movie has nothing good.
Yeah.
There's nothing good to be said.
There's nothing good to be said.
And frankly, it feels like, what if money?
Yeah.
And then they made a movie.
Yeah. So
it.
I want to say, what did you think about this movie? But I know what your answer is going to be.
If
but
you
what
like
did you
this movie,
think about this movie?
Tell us. If you have something that you particularly like about it, let us know.
If
Either
you
way,
were to be a bender of any type, what would it be? Without this movie, I think a firebender would be dope for me.
yeah.
I would definitely be a
of
firebender.
any element. There's only
of
4.
any elements.
Yeah.
I would be a firebender. Yeah. Or maybe earth. Probably fire. Yeah.
I mean, from data from this movie, I would say fire. Overall, I don't know, probably water.
All right.
But,
well, anyway, tell us what you thought.
I've been John Norgrove. This has been Wife. This has been Review Jive. It was Terrible Movie Tuesday. We watched Avatar: The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan, the fucking worst movie of all time. So, yeah. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, share, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff, and we'll catch you guys next time.